So the words are, "Oh Lord, I worship you alone. You sit on the throne. I worship and praise your name." Is that right? I worship you alone. You alone. Those are some powerful words. Powerful words. Yeah. That's one of the ones you'll find yourself around the house singing by yourself. Yeah, you don't need a choir for that song. You need some praise in your heart. Amen. Yeah, you don't need anybody paying attention to you, because you're saying, "Oh Lord, I worship you alone." You alone. Yeah, I love that. Thank you. You alone. Think about the power of that. I don't have to include anybody else in this period of praise and worship. Just you alone. Thank you for that. That's a gift. Today has been a gift of song service. The songs have readjusted me, if I can say that. They've been new. Sometimes the song service seems like more of the same. And I don't ever want to be that way, but that's the reality of life. More of the same. But today, it took me different, made me different. It's a higher level. And I want to thank y'all for that. We need songs that can speak to us as we grow.
Amen. You're right.
We do. Do you have a song? I know the choir's got a song. If you only get your church songs from the choir, then you're limiting yourself. Yeah. Reggie and them know I'll call them and say, "Man, I heard this song. I want y'all to try to sing this song." I'll do it. I can. When I hear the song, I can see the choir singing it, and I say, "Let's just try this." Now, sometimes it takes a year or two, but it's like a present for me when I walk in that service, and all of a sudden here's that song, and I thank God for that. There, it may not come when you want it.
Come on, Red. Come on, Red. Amen.
Yeah, you got me. But I guarantee you to be there right on.
There you go.
Right on time. Yeah, you better have your song.
All right now.
Yeah, Jalen, you better take a song with you to VCU.
Amen.
I'm here to tell you, you're gonna be mad at the coach and the other players, and you're gonna be in your room, and you're gonna need a song.
There you go.
Yeah, and you're gonna be saying, "Oh, I wish I was back at 45th Street Baptist Church. All this way away is cold up here, it's snow everywhere." Yeah, that's life. We've been talking about getting better this month. So much stuff I want to be better at.
Amen.
I do. I just so much I want to do for the Lord. He won't let me do it because I haven't committed to excellence in that area. And God doesn't just let you do anything.
All right.
Not for Him. You have to be committed to Him. Seriously, you want to do something more for the Lord, commit yourself to excellence.
Right.
And when He sees that you're faithful in that, He'll bless you with something else to do. That's how He does it. But He's not going to just throw an assignment your way when you messing up the assignment you already got. Yeah. So put that into any context you want, and it works. You want a better house? Be better at your house.
There you go. There you go.
You want a better wife? Be a better husband. And that works in reverse. You want better children? Be a better parent. That's how it works. Because what you can't do, God will allow grace to make the difference.
Yeah. Thank you, man. Thank
He'll do that. You can't fix him, but he can.
Absolutely.
He'll change it. He'll change it. He'll turn the whole circumstance around, and then you'll turn around and your song will be Can't Nobody do me like, can't nobody do me like the Lord. Yeah, that'll be your song. Yeah, you want to have that song, but you first have to embody betterness. Is that a word? Make that a word. Yeah. Yes. Today I embody the concept of betterness. I want to be the best I can for you, Lord. Me and Karen started doing pretty good when I stopped trying to, make her the wife I wanted her to be. Started accepting her for the wife she was. And appreciating that. Yeah, coming to love that. And that becomes, it's less stressful. Yeah, because it's hard for me to be me and her. Too. Yeah. It's easy if I just let her be her. Yeah. That's how it works. We started the sermon series, Do Better, Be Better, about 2 Sundays ago. And we talked about talking better and how talking better helps us to be better. Communicating more effectively helps us to be better. And then we talked about how to jump start our breakthrough, how to get that going. Yes, thank you. How to jump start a breakthrough. I just love it. And the text we've been using for this series has been from the 2nd chapter of Proverbs, verses 2 through 4, those 3 verses. Tune your ears to wisdom and concentrate on understanding. Cry out for insight and ask for understanding. Search for them as you would for silver, because they're valuable. Seek them like hidden treasures. Tune, concentrate, cry out, ask for, search for, seek them. Do something. You got to do something. If you want to be better, you have to do something. Better is not just going to walk up to you and tap you on the shoulder and say, I'm here. You have to do something. So I'm talking to you about this because God talks about it in Proverbs. So it must be important because God doesn't waste, is not wasteful. What he gives us has meaning. We may not understand it. We might not even appreciate it, but it has meaning and it has value. That's true. And so we're talking about it. It's being better is a major topic. And today I want to talk about something that I believe is crushing us. How many of you, by a show of hands, think that you are a good friend? Raise your hand. You're a good friend to whoever it is that considers you a friend, but are you a good friend or just a friend? Yeah. How many of you want to be a better friend? Raise your hand.
Yeah. Amen.
Yeah. We all do. We all want to be better. I have a confession today before I get started. And I'm talking about, let me qualify this. I'm talking about friends to people outside your biological family.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, I'm not talking about to your brother or sister or aunt or uncle or cousins. I'm talking about people who have no blood relationship to you. Are you a good friend to them? Because we collectively, everybody has trouble with those attachments and relationships. And so I think it's important to having a peaceful life, to being able to have a good, that's why we're talking about these kinds of things this month in stewardship, because as you steward who you are, more than time, talent, and treasures, you steward who you are, you want to have peaceable relationships with people. And that makes life more valuable to you.
True.
Ask anybody that lives in drama.
Amen. You're right.
Anybody that lives in drama will tell you they don't have no peaceful life. All right, they might not know how to get out of that situation, but they would rather do something different. And so I want to talk to you about that this morning. Society is not conducive today to having good relationships outside of the family. Let me tell you how it's changed. You used to be able to, somebody's gonna say amen, you used to be able to walk out the front of your house on the porch and sit down and see folk. Folk next door to you, because they would be on the porch. Or folk across the street from you and they would be on the porch. And you get to know them that way. Yeah, but now they don't even really make houses with porches. Folk drive to their house and they go in the garage. If they're gonna fellowship, you know where they go? In the backyard.
Yeah, that's true.
Most of those are fenced. And so rarely do you have the opportunity to interact with folk in your neighborhood. Now, there are some neighborhoods that still have the porch thing, but not the newest one. But ironically, after a generation of building communities like that, they've now come back to the porch concept. They've now come back to the concept of making walkable communities where you can walk and say, hey, Mr. Sparks, how you doing? They didn't even build communities with sidewalks in them. Now they've realized, and let's not even talk about the generation of young folk who live in apartments.
That's true.
Yeah, stacked on top of one another where you basically see one another going and coming only. If you wave, it's, hey, how you doing? There's no place to stand in fellowship. People meet now at the gym, at the grocery store. Some people you have at work. There's no gathering place like it used to be, except for church. And if this is your only place of gathering, then this is too limiting.
That's true.
Because we only have a worship opportunity, and as soon, if you don't know anybody in this place, as soon as the worship service is over, pew, you're gone. And that's the period of worship. And so we're going to talk about that today, and hopefully we can give you some pointers on how to do it a little bit better, make it better. I think it'll help you if you apply it. But my true confession to you today is that I've got a friend, as I was preparing this message, I've got a friend who has been a better friend to me than I have been to him.
All right.
I have violated these principles. I've learned in these principles that I've been doing some things wrong, that I need to do it better with this friend. And I was actually, as I was preparing, I was saddened to realize that I've been the one that has impacted the relationship negatively. Yeah. And so I got to do better. That is, if I consider that person a friend, and I do. Yeah. I do. I don't have any doubt that the person is my friend. The distance in the relationship has been me. And so I got to fix that. Now, I don't know if any of you relate to that, but if you do, that's between you and that person. I will tell you this, sometimes we have problems in relationships because God brings people into our lives for a specific reason. Okay. All right, and once that reason is complete, you need to leave that alone. All right, because rarely does the relationship extend beyond that reason. All right. You say, I think you say, sometimes he comes in for a season. Yeah, you say this in your book, don't you? Yeah. Yeah. Say it's Anthony. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, and when the season changes,
that's it.
Let me see if I can put it like this. You have a summer friend that you try to take into winter.
My goodness.
And you get cold. The relationship gets cold because it's not built to withstand that. The season that you needed that is over. It's over. And you got to be mature enough to let it go. Some of us think we're supposed to drag the same folk through our lives the whole time.
My goodness, you're right. It's true.
It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. You can, and that is with the title friend. You can know them. Oh yeah, we've been knowing each other for a while, but that don't mean y'all bosom buddies.
Right,
you ain't still got to try to socialize regularly and do all the things that come with friendship. You can still be friendly to one another.
Okay.
All right? But we're missing out on some of the God-given benefits, privileges that come with friendship. Look. Scripture says this, that a true friend is closer than your own family.
Wow.
A true friend is closer than your own family. I'm not going to ask you to raise your hand right now, but I guarantee you there's somebody sitting in front of me right now who has confided more in a friend than you have with your family.
Okay. That's right.
You will call them up and tell them stuff going on in your life that you would never whisper to your brother or your sister.
That's true.
Yeah, and you know they're going to keep the confidence. You know that. A true friend is closer than your own family. The truth of the matter is, we need family, and this proverb doesn't belittle the fact that family is important. That's essential. That's essential. Yeah. But sometimes family cannot or will not do for us what a friend can or will do. It won't do it. So, if you can learn God's wisdom about your relationship with friends and neighbors, then you can enjoy a tremendous closeness with other human beings. There's so many examples in Scripture. My favorite is the one between Jonathan and David. How Jonathan loved David more than he loved his own family. They were knit together as brothers. Even though Jonathan was heir to the throne, he was willing to give up his place of prominence and privilege for friendship. He believed that much in David that he was willing to defy his father for the friendship. Some people look into the relationship and the closeness they had, and they read some of the language, and they try to say that there was something untoward going on with their relationship, something negative. But that's because they don't understand what two true friends are like.
That's true.
Yeah. I'm talking closer than, we come in, little kids want to make this little blood pact. Don't nobody do that no more, I hope. But, keep your blood to yourself. Yeah, do a coloring pact, Crayola pact, highlighter pact or something. But none of that blood changing. Yeah, blood brothers, Yeah, do blood oranges. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you eat a slice and I eat a slice. And we blood brothers. Yeah, but they were so close. The Bible says that when Jonathan died on the battlefield, that David mourned. He mourned. He died with his father, but he mourned for his daddy, he mourned for Saul, even though Saul had tried to kill him. But he didn't mourn for Saul like he mourned for Jonathan. My Lord, that's a friend. Not only did he mourn for him, he sought to take care of Jonathan's family and went out and found Jonathan's child and took care of him and brought him to the king's table and treated him like he was his own child the rest of his life. That's how much he loved his father. That's a friend. That's a friend. But let's talk about how you can do better. What does the consolidated wisdom of the wisest man who ever lived have to say about friends? The first thing it says is an obvious. The first thing you got to do is make time for friends. Make time for friends. Yeah. How many of y'all got a great friend? Oh, we great friends. But you haven't seen them in about a year and a half. And they live in town. How many of y'all been that busy? Yeah, if you that busy, you too busy. All right? Because you have to make time for your friendships. They have to be nurtured and watered, and the light, the sunlight of love has to hit friendships. They need to see you and you need to see them. You know why? Because good friends can keep you in check. And when they don't see you, they can't make the proper judgment on you. You can be lying on the phone. Even though a good friend can tell in your voice, you lying. You lying. Why you lying, man? It's me you talking to. That's what they said. It's me you talking to. You can go and tell me the truth. I know what's happening right there. But when they see you and they look in your eyes, it's kind of hard. You got to be some kind of cold to sit in your good friend's face and just lie like that. And there's no need to do it. That's the beauty of having a good friend. You can be naked in front of them, not literally. You can be emotionally naked in front of them, and it's okay. Do you have someone you can be emotionally naked in front of? If you sit down and you in front of them and nothing but tears will come out, can you let that happen? Or have you become so frigid in your relationships that you can't be true in front of anybody? We build this mask around ourselves, and we put that mask on in front of everybody. The problem becomes when we start putting the mask on to ourselves. We start believing that that's who we are. That's not you. That's who you put yourself out to be. Sometimes we're afraid of who we are. We are. We are frightened about it because we won't accept that we have failings. Yeah, but a good friend can help you deal with those failings and help you work your way through those failings and get to a place where you can be first comfortable with you. But you got to have somebody who can walk with you through the forest of your despair, of your problems. Good friends make you better. Good friends can make you better. So, look, make time for your friendships. Proverbs 3:28 says, if you can help your neighbor now, don't say come back tomorrow and then I'll help you. If you can help them now, help them now. All right? Don't be too busy for them. We have too much aloneness in our culture. Too much of it. I'll share this with you. There was a period of time when I used to go and I'd leave work, you know, as is the people who work 8 to 5 or whatever. There's going to be a period of time and there's some point where you're going to have a lunch break. And I used to feel sorry for people when I used to see them eating lunch alone. It used to affect me, literally, to see them because I used to think, that person is so lonely that there's no one, until I reached the point where I enjoyed getting away from folk and going to lunch by myself. But let me say this, you shouldn't eat alone every day. Every day. You don't need that much me time. No, because when you have that much me time, you just selfish. You just selfish. If you got to eat by yourself every single day, you just selfish. You just don't want to be around folk. And that's a problem because if you live like that, guess what? You're going to live like that. And so the time comes when you need to have folk around. You want to have folk around and no one will come around. Every now and then, you got to get out of you and do something for somebody else. I know some people get on your nerve, tolerate them for 45 minutes. Eat your little tuna sandwich in front of them. Talk to them. It's going to pay dividends when you do it. But don't always push folk away from you. I'm serious about this. This is as much Bible as anything. You do not, the most pitiful thing in the world, I'm going to say this, is an older person who is intentionally push folk out their lives. And they get older, and let me tell you, the one thing you want when you get older is somebody around you. And you know when you get older and you set in your ways, you don't want to change, it becomes less likely that they want to be around you at that point. Yeah, you got to bring folk into your area. Let them, just seriously. It sounds humorous, but there's validity to including people in your life. Just to listen. If you don't, okay, all he do is talk. Just let him talk. Let him talk. Let him talk. But he ain't talking about nothing. Well, let him talk about nothing. You're going to make every reason in the world. Look, it's 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and then you can go on about your business, but who knows what that means to that person. So please, I'm asking you, make time for friends. And guess where you especially need friends at? Church. You especially need friends at church, which is interesting because a lot of people are confused. They think that only families don't join church, but there are plenty of folk in here who have no family in this church. And if you have no family in the church and there's something here that says you are part of this church, guess what you need to have? Friends. 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 Now traditionally, this church and other churches were family-based. And so you could float around in here and talk to folk all the time and hardly ever miss somebody that wasn't related to you. But imagine how lonely that is to people who have no relationships in the church and you're not inclusive. Friendliness is valuable. It means something to not only say you're the friendliest church, it means something to be the friendliest church. Look, the Gallup, everybody knows that Gallup does studies and they do polls, and they did one on churches. They were commissioned, and this is what they found. I didn't put this on the slide. You would have been able to read it along with me. People with close friendships in their church are very satisfied with their congregation because they have close friendships in the church. People with close friendships in church are less likely to leave their place of worship because they have connections. They also have a stronger, look at this, friendship with God because they have strong friendships or close friendship in the church. How about this? Church members who have a best friend at church, are 21% more likely to report attending services regularly. Because they want to see, at least they want to come see their friend. And so that's a reason to come to church. 26% of people who have a best friend at church report having a strong or more active faith in God. Look at the correlation there. Yeah, because when you open the roadway to loving and being with someone, that not only applies horizontally, it also applies vertically. So I'm more open to loving the Lord, and that opens me up to loving folk around me as well. 77% of highly satisfied members in churches have either eaten a meal with fellow congregants or at some point spent some time in their home. Now, this is a big one. Yeah, fellowshipping with people is important. We used to do this all the time. We don't do this no more, not for real, where we invite folk into our home. Ooh. You mean you get to see me? For real? Not the Sunday morning me, but the me. Yeah, that's what it means, that you get to see folk, and it increases your connection to them. Only 56% of somewhat satisfied or dissatisfied members have shared a meal with somebody else in the congregation. I'm not talking about a meal we eat here, outside or in the fellowship hall. I'm talking about a meal you share together at home or at some place together. That's what I'm talking about. People who are in large part dissatisfied don't have those kinds of relationships. So it's important to spend time with people. 62% of people who eat meals together regularly report spending time in prayer and worship on a regular basis, and 49% of them who have not eaten meals with their church members are not satisfied. Let me tell you why we take this for granted. Why this is taken for granted. Because if you already have an intact family unit in the church, you count that as time spent with other church members. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not going to ask anybody to raise their hand if they don't have any family in this church. But you know who you are, and you know how many folk there are. Yeah, we have, in large part, changed in our congregational mix from being a family-based oriented church to people joining because they want to join. That creates a different obligation for us to draw people in and to invite them into our family units. That's very, very important. You have to make time for that. The second thing that you have to do if you want to be a better friend, in addition to making time for people, is you have to don't run when life changes. Now, I said that as a catch-all. Don't run when life changes. What does that mean? I got a friend who developed an addiction. And I didn't stay. I moved on. For too long, I moved on. It was not compatible with me for a lot of reasons. But don't you know, I know now, it was at that time that that person needed a friend more than anything. And I didn't just cut and run. I was there and trying to say, come on, man, we got to do something about this now. There's something going on. I was trying to do all the things that you were supposed to do. We even had an intervention that was rejected. And so at some point, I had to say, you know what, I can't do this. Where I am right now, I can't do this. And in hindsight, I made it more about me than their problem. Never abandon a friend. Never abandon a friend. Either yours or your father's. When disaster strikes, if you don't abandon, I need to read this like this. If you don't abandon a friend, when disaster strikes, you won't have to ask your brother for assistance. It's better to go to a neighbor than to a brother who lives far away. It's amazing to me when folk who don't live in town come and visit, and they see people in their mom and dad's house who are close to them. Close to them. But they're not related to them. In fact, the people have no blood relationship to their parents, but they know everything about their mom and dad, and they know what their medicine is. They know everything. They can take them to the store. You know why? Because people need people. And when you decide that you're going to build your life on the West Coast, but your folk live on the East Coast, guess what? Somebody's going to fill in the blank. And you're going to show up and you're going to still think, I'm stepping in as son. I'm thinking I'm stepping in as relative. I have high right. The only problem is friend has covered that over. I've seen people do that, and it's caused tension in the house because they come in saying, I'm the daughter. Well, be the daughter. Be the daughter, not just when you show up. Be the daughter on Thursday when she got an eye appointment and can't drive. Be the daughter then. Yeah, but don't come in here and dog me now because I've been around here cooking ramen noodles for your mama. And you mad at me because she called my name before she called yours. She been calling my name for 6 months, and guess what? I've been answering. Can't run when life changes because it's inconvenient, because your life is aggravated, because it causes a ripple in what you think should be the flow of life for you. You can't run under those circumstances. You have to stay there, because when you stay there, not only do you gain a friend, you gain a friend for generations. It's what it's saying. Don't abandon your friend or your father's friend. Didn't I just say David went and got Jonathan's son? Yeah, he wasn't Jonathan's son's friend. He was Jonathan's friend. But because he was Jonathan's friend, he took care of Jonathan's son. I tell folks this all the time. You haven't gained all the credit you need to have the favor in your life you have. Sometimes you have that favor because of what your mom and daddy did. If your mom and daddy lived a good, upstanding life, you walk indoors and folks say, hey, how you doing? You such and such's daughter, and you just got to benefit from that. And so while you walk around with your mouth poked out talking about what your folk didn't do, a good name is valuable. Valuable. That's what having friends will do. Folks still walk up to me. My mama died 19 years ago. Our mama died 19 years ago. Folks still walk up to me now and say, you Dar's son. They wouldn't say that if Doris didn't have a good reputation. They wouldn't say that. Not 20 years later. They wouldn't say that. They might thinking, that look like Doris. I'm going to keep on moving. Yeah. She still owe me $20. 20. Yeah, but they walk up on you when your mama had a good name. And they say, you old. And you know what? It's like somebody gave you a bouquet of flowers when they do that. And I always say, thank you for remembering my mama. That's a blessing to me. It's a blessing. It's not because they can do something for me. It's just because it validates the kind of life she lived. And guess what? I need to tell you this, mamas, daddies, you do that every day right now. The kind of life you live will blossom or not in your children's lives. Yeah, it's happening right now. But don't run when life changes. Don't do it when disaster strikes. That's when you can tell who the real ones are. There was a poll taken, a contest was given, describe a true friend. All these kinds of answers came in. And the winning answer was interesting, Ingrid. The winning answer was simple. A true friend is the one who walks in when everybody else runs out. That's a true friend. When everybody else is getting gone, this is the person who walk in and say, oh, what's up? What you need? I'm here. Don't run when life changes. And how many of you know that life changes? Quickly. Quickly, it changes in a day. And so that's why the Bible says it. That's why the smartest man in the world says, never abandon a friend, ever. There is a story by a man named Gary Ingrid who tells of a young man who was in the Korean War. And he finished his tour, and when he flew back to the States, he landed in San Francisco. And he called his parents, and he said, Mom, I just want to let you know I'm back stateside. And she was so excited. She hadn't heard from him. She had been praying mightily for him. And he said, and I'm on my way home. And she said, well, come on, we're ready for you. He said, but Mama, I got to tell you, I brought a friend home with me. And I got to bring him with me. And she said, well, bring him on. We're going to celebrate with everybody. He said, no, Mama, you don't understand. He said, the friend I got to come home, and I need for him to stay with us. Wow. And she said, well, son, come on, bring him on. He can stay with us for a little while. He said, but no, Mama, you don't understand. This friend I got was injured in the war, and he lost an eye and an arm and a leg. And I need for him to come stay with us. Not for a little while, Mama, but he needs to come stay with us because he ain't got nobody else that's going to take care of him, Mama. I need for you to let that happen. She said, well, son, come on, we'll figure it out. He said, Mama, you got to understand. He needs somebody to help him. And she said, well, son, now let's be honest. This young man is going to end up being a burden on all of us. And he's going to take over your life, and you're not going to be able to do anything that you want to do because you got this young man. Surely he got somebody else he can go to. And the boy said, all right, Mama, I'll talk to you later. About a week later, they got a phone call saying that a body had been found in San Francisco. And when they got the identification on the body, it was the woman's son. But what made it worse was the fact that he had lost an eye, he had lost a leg, and he had lost an arm in the war. And he was trying to test the environment before he got to his mama's house. And he realized his worst dreams came true. That the burden he thought he was going to be, they thought he would be that kind of burden as well. Now, you might say it was unfair because he said it was a friend and it wasn't him, but a burden is a burden. and he was at a fragile point in time, what I got to tell you is do not abandon a friend when times get tough. The next thing I want you to know is practice impartial friendship. Stop treating one friend one way and another friend differently. Look. Many people want to please a leader, and everyone is friends with those who give gifts. Wealth makes many friends. Poverty drives them all away. The poor are despised even by their neighbors, while the rich have many friends. It is a sin to belittle one's neighbor. Blessed are those who help the poor. Poor folk have a hard time having friends, particularly in a materialistic society, because people only want to be friends with folk who can do something for them. If you can't do nothing for me, why am I going to waste my time dealing with you? Please don't adopt this mentality. Don't withhold friendship from somebody because they can't do something for you, because they don't have anything to give you. Remember now, the answer is real friends come in when everybody else is running away. The practical application of this is that not having friends can create all kinds of problems in your life. They did a study on homeless individuals, Reggie. And the study on homeless individuals was looking at the reasons why people stay homeless. What are the causes? One would think that you could he ain't got no job. He has an addiction. He can't maintain a budget. You would think those things would be apparent as to why folks don't have, or why they're homeless. But the researchers started looking at the specific individuals, and they found something very unique among most of the people who were regularly in and out of homeless shelters. It's we always put the stereotypes on folk, but sometimes it's much simpler than that. It's not alcoholism solely. No, it's not mental health issues solely as a root cause. They found that the men and women who remained homeless for decades had one thing in common. It was a lack of healthy friendships. They suffered from friendshiplessness. All right? They didn't have friends. They didn't have anybody who was going to check on them, who was going to go see about them, who was going to make sure they did certain things. They were ultimately left to themselves, almost as if nobody cared. And guess what? From their mindset, nobody did. But it's amazing what happens when you got a friend. Somebody, if you've never noticed anything, if you paid any attention, if you've ever worked around that area, there is always somebody trying to group with somebody else. They're always looking for somebody to be a friend with. You ever seen winos together? Now, the commonality might be the bottle, but they don't even want to drink by themselves. They want somebody to share in. Friendship, bonding means something. Not just in healthy people, but especially in people who are on the emotional fringe of our society. It means something that they have someone to care for them. How can you be homeless for a year and have a good friend? How is that possible? How is it possible that you in your house every day, going through, living your life the way God has blessed you to live it, but you got a friend, a good friend, somebody you say, it's my best friend, and he living under a bridge? How is that possible and you're a good friend? You need to redefine friendship. I'm not saying that person got to come live in your house, but surely some of your resources should go to make life better or different. And so it kind of brings this point home, that people who are chronically 10 years or more homeless don't have friends in their lives. The next thing I want to give you is don't take friends for granted. Don't take friends for granted. What that mean? That mean don't go to their house all the time. That mean when you run out of stuff, don't be calling them all the time. That mean they are not your ATM. Hey, I'm kind of short this week. Let me get $40 from you. That don't take friends for granted. Just because you know they cook spaghetti on Wednesday, don't show up at the house every Wednesday. Don't take friends for granted. Showing up at Walton Carmen's house because you know they can cook. No, y'all got something over here. Why? Because the scripture says, don't visit your neighbors too often or you will wear out your welcome. Now that sounds like that was written this year. That's a proverb. Solomon got tired of them folks showing up at the temple. Come on, man. You ate lamb yesterday. What you doing? I know I'm the richest man in the world, but give me a break, man. Are you going to take all you got on my robe now? It just wearies you when people take it for granted. They're just hanging on. They suck the life out of you, and they don't give you room to be you or to be generous because they take it anyway. You can't be generous with them. And the last thing I want to tell you, and I'm out of your way, is be in your friend's corner even if they're not there to defend themselves. Be in your friend's corner all the time. I should say especially when they are not there to defend themselves. Look at what the verse says this. A friend is always loyal. Whoever forgives someone's sin makes a friend. But gossiping, underline that, about the sin breaks up friendships. It is foolish to belittle one's neighbor. A sensible person keeps quiet. That is the anti-social media proverb. Most friendships have messed up because you put something on social media about somebody that considered you a friend. Because it's not what you said, it's the fact that you talking about me. Why you even talking about me on social media? It's just like talking about me behind my back in my face. Because because anything you put on social media is public. So, but you think I ain't gonna read it? It's like people don't think folks are looking at them. Like picking your nose in the car while you're driving. Like nobody can see you. Come on now, y'all know. People see you. You know I'm looking at you, right? And that's nasty now. But you in your car, so you hiding, right? Yeah, note to self, don't drive his car. This is what it does. You should not be talking about your friend. You should be defending them. I'm sure you got a good reason for doing that. You need to go talk to him about that. Because when the conversation comes up and your friend determines that you were part of the conversation, they're going to be upset at you for being in the conversation and not coming back and telling them what was going on. That's just reality. You can't be upset because somebody wants you to be loyal to them. That's what friendship requires, loyalty. If you're at a gathering and somebody mentions your friend, and particularly if it's disparaging, defend them against criticism. I'm sure there's a good reason for whatever he said or she said. Even if they've done something wrong. Even if somebody said they've done something wrong, you shouldn't go in on them. Don't pile on. at that point. Your loyalty is gonna, your lack of loyalty is gonna get back to that person. But guess what also will get back? The fact that you defended them. That'll get back too. And when they find out, as y'all say, you had my back or I was there for you, that's going to encourage the relationship. So what are the trends? What's the connection between all of these things that I just talked about? It basically boils down to making an effort to treat your friends like special people. Make sure they know they're special in your life. The last thing is this: talk straight with your friends. I started to write B100. B100 with your friends. Ain't that what y'all say now? B100, real talk with your friends. Tell them the truth. Tell them the truth. If you won't tell them, and you know people are, no, you really need to rethink that hairdo. You do. I'm serious. Now, you quit playing right now. You need to go back in there and do something about that. Because we go out of here, people are going to be upset. And they're going to be messing with you. And I'm trying to tell you now, I know you think it look cute, but it don't. All right? Talk to them straight up. Better they get mad at you at the house, get upset, and do something, than to go out and then be upset because you didn't really try to help them. Be for real with them. But the hardest thing in the world is to be truthful with somebody you really care. That's hard. That's real hard. And you got to grow. And look, not only do you have to be mature enough to do it, they got to be mature enough to receive it. They got to be mature enough to receive it. The godly give good advice to their friends. The wicked lead them astray. You can trust a friend who corrects you, but the kisses from an enemy are nothing but lies. With their words, the godless destroy their friends. The godless. Yeah. Friendship is about honesty. Friendship is about saying the hard thing that has to be said sometime. Friendship is about letting people know that they're living wrong. You can't be somebody's friend and be high and holy and they live low and hellish and you don't tell them about it. They can't be your best friend because somebody's lying about friendship. They are incompatible. They are. One of the problems I had with a friend was that his lifestyle was in opposite to where I am now. I can't be going out hanging with you and being in no club. We ain't friends like that. I can't go sit up at no bar and drink with you. First of all, I don't drink. Secondly, you do know I'm the pastor of a church, don't you? If you care about me, you shouldn't even be asking me to do that kind of thing. If you are in a place where you are supposed to be professionally and your friend keeps doing things that are in opposite to where you are, you need to reconsider that friendship. I see many, many people who tear up their professional lives over recreation. And then they wonder why. And you say, my friend was with me. I wasn't in trouble. See, I wasn't in trouble. It was my friend who got into this drama. That's not a good friend. They're supposed to be protecting you. And so I'm here to tell you, what does a friend do? A friend is willing to sacrifice. A friend is absolutely willing to sacrifice. A friend is willing to give all. One songwriter says, there's not a friend like Jesus. One songwriter says it best, even if we go down this road. What a friend we have in Jesus. All our sins and griefs to bear. What a privilege to carry. Everything to him in prayer. Do you have a friend like that? I mean, you may not have a friend with skin on right now that you can call that kind of friend. They just sang it to us. He's just that. Didn't they just say that? I didn't. He's just that kind of friend. The one who can help you with all your issues. The one who can help you get life straight when it's gone all crooked. He can do that for you. Do you know him that way? Have you given him the chance not only to be your Savior, have you validated his dying for you, but you can give him the chance to be the Lord of your life. He'll lead you, direct you, guide you, correct you. He'll straighten you out. You know what made me a better husband? Preaching. How can I preach what's right and do what's wrong? Jesus won't have me doing that. He's not going to bless me under those circumstances. If I'm standing up here saying one thing and living something different, he's not going to bless me. And so if I want to do right, I got to do right. Do you know it? He'll straighten you out. As they come now, if you believe that he lived for you and he died for you, if he's your kind of friend, that kind of friend, and he's waiting on you to come into, he'll be your best friend. We all need one. He'll be there with you when it's tough times. He won't leave you and he won't forsake you. He'll listen to you when nobody else will. That's what he does. I know somebody here today is ready to claim him as their Savior. Doors of our church are wide open now. If you believe he died for you and was resurrected and now lives and advocates for you, come on now. We're waiting for you.
When you're down in trouble and you need some love and care.
Come on, Red.
Well, there it is. I hope you were blessed by the God's word. It's my prayer that you will grow from this message. But in case you need a refresher, you can always stop by our physical location and worship with us at 7600 Division Avenue over in the East Lake community. I believe one visit and you'll find out that we truly are the friendliest church from the parking lot to the pulpit. Looking forward to meeting you. God bless you. Take care.